So I'm going to be looking at the Paladin, and he typically is the most consistent of the characters. He's able to... Well, basically in the deck construction stage, his versatility lies in his... as you can see here, he has a lot of damage dealing cards, but he also has quite a few buff cards, as well as weapons. I'm not going to use weapons for this one, even though it's probably a better idea to. He also has protection, like Divine Shield, which some of the neutral minions have, but no hero can give it that directly. Maybe Shaman with Alduin Wind Speaker or whatever he's called. But Paladin can also manipulate values, like change minions attack to 1, especially this one, change all minions health to 1. They also have healing. I don't really like healing that much. Depends on the type of player. To me, healing in card games is basically, if you can kill them faster, there's no point for it. It's mostly a dead card, but some would see it as, if you're in a bad situation, you can turn it around from there, but usually you want to control the situation very early on. They also have a revival card. Revival cards in this game are quite far and few between. In fact, there's very little that acts with the discard pile, so maybe that will come out in future expansions. I don't have all the Paladin cards. There's this one here that reduces health to 1. Sword of Justice, that's an interesting one. It's a weapon, but it's basic. This game has very few... doesn't have any continuous spells, so they don't have any spells that work continuously. Sword of Justice acts kind of like that and keeps buffing your minions, and I suppose that's the Paladin's style, because Paladins will usually rule an army, and that actually is part of his hero power to keep summoning recruits. But they don't let their army just go out and die. I suppose they like to protect them, which is why you can have the small minion and you can just buff him with, say, Blessings of Kings to give him 4/4. And basically you have a 5/5 minion for a 5 cost. And you don't lose much advantage for that. You'll see what I mean when I play. He has also a lot of cards that act like divine interventions from God, basically, or Deus Ex Machina sort of ideas, like Divine Favor. This was, I think, designed if you are on a disadvantage, you could regain your advantage, but typically what people do is they spam their hand, and then they gain more advantage from this. So, it can be used either way. I think Tyrion Fording, he, on top of all the capabilities that a Paladin has, they also have Tyrion Fording. I think he has his own lore. I never looked it up, but I suppose he's one of the stronger Paladins in the lore. And he has quite a few effects for 1 card, for an 8 card, and his stats are quite good for it as well, so that's just kind of the options that they have. Alright. We'll get to playing. Hopefully not a mirror match again, but that can work, because so some of the things I wrote about Paladins, for a while I had trouble associating the lore, because Uther is basically a legend. Where'd that go?
Uther versus Rexar!
Let the hunt begin. I will fight with honor.
So Hunter. Hunter, hang on 1 second. So what I wrote about the Paladin is they have a lot of cards that, in terms of card games, card advantage is always important, and the Paladin always has the greatest value for 1 card. 2 damage to all enemies, 8 damage split between characters. Basically, you get the most out of your cards, more than any other,
Put this apple on your head!
more than any other class, really. Maybe Druid also get quite a few out of the cards, but that's a choice. Here, there's a definite you get this, and you get that. The Hunter is interesting. It depends how he plays it. I think he's playing the Beast version. You can also run traps with that too. There's no problem with that. It's just... Depends what, Steady Shot is a very powerful skill, but needs setup to do it. Like, if you can consistently keep the enemy away from you, this card becomes very, very irritating because you can quickly diminish someone, you can quickly diminish an enemy's, health with that. So I have to be careful with that.
Let me think.
We must cleanse the Sunwell.
Hey, catch!
The battle!
Right now I haven't used any Paladin exclusive cards yet. Haven't had the need to. Paladin works well with neutrals as well as his own cards. He has very few minions, actually. So you do need to supplement his...
Mind if I roll need?
You do need to supplement him with minions from the neutral pool, but you can run relatively anything. You might want to... You could run stuff like in the Shaman deck, you could run stuff to support the summon, or you could run stuff that would benefit from all the protection and buffs that you would get. So there I used one of the first buff cards, I think. Yep. It basically gives quite a significant advantage.
Reporting for duty.
Stalling against a hunter is never really a good idea because he can just pierce right through it. So you kind of have to be aggressive relatively early, otherwise it can come back to bite you.
First kill. The battle! Reporting for duty.
And I have one of the Paladin's greatest combos here. can basically eliminate a field no matter what. So if he starts spamming stuff like this, basically I'll get the most advantage out of that. So Paladins capitalize on the most advantage for very little. And this is where people start to get sad.
Reporting for duty.
There, I wiped his field. So this is where Paladin, like, it kind of acts like a Deus Ex Machina mechanic. Like, you do have to have the cards, but you can basically pull a full field wipe for free for a relatively much easier than most other heroes. I think the Warlock has Twisting Nether, which is basically a field wipe. So there is a trade-off with it, but here it's basically free for you, and you don't lose much of anything doing it.
The battle! Reporting for duty.
Hunter is very good at killing things, you could say, but
Reporting for the battle. My shield for Argus. The battle.
So there is ways to use Silverhand quite effectively. They have one, but you can make them weaker, or you can use them basically as minions. I mean, no. They're free advantage, basically. Field advantage.
The battle.
Another Deus Ex Machina card. So if you're ever in trouble and you get attacked, you can just summon something else to protect you. A lot of the theme revolves around justice and nobility. So that's another recurring theme with the Paladin.
Reporting for duty. The battle.
This is also this one.
My shield for Argus. The battle! The battle!
And basically, this is how a Paladin can push his advantage. And these cards here let him retake the advantage if he loses it. So, this is why he's one of the more consistent decks out there.
Well played.
And I just have all this advantage. Even though I was losing more life than he was at one point, I can just keep going with this. And I can just... Oh, I do have one more. That's the end of the game. So, Paladin, interesting. A lot of Deus Ex Machina mechanics or elements that come out of this. So if he is ever on the losing end, he can always call upon, say, a miracle, and basically wipe the field like I showed there. And then Paladins also in their own right are quite strong and army based, so that's why you could spam the minions, and even if they get wiped, you can just keep coming back with them, and you can keep pushing forward with your advantage. So yeah, that's the Paladin. I think this should be enough as a proof of concept for my analysis. I will not be doing a Yu-Gi-Oh! One because, well, I could use Dueling Network, but it's a little... I think this should be enough just to get an idea of what directions to head into. Please leave comments, thoughts, contradictions, arguments against me, because I'm probably wrong in a lot of places. But yeah, thanks for watching.